Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to CCxRC. Just wanted to show you a quick video about from Robskii Fabrications, SCX24 upgrade kit. And you'll know Rob from his DSM off-road stuff like this kinetic winch strap that we use so many of. And they are the best ones. Other people have tried to make them. These are way better than anybody else's that I've ever used. So just showing you guys here this stock chassis upgrade kit that he makes for the SCX24. It's got these like shock key, sometimes they call them, for the front and rear. Gives you a lot more shock options, just bolts in. I actually just used the existing body mount post and battery tray to hold in the screws. You could use 4mm hardware as well on the back of them, but I just decided to use what was already there. And then the ESC tray. This was a completely brand new stock truck that I went ahead and opened up and installed this. The little skid plates on the side come with it as well. I went ahead, my video would have been super long, so I did some other upgrades while I was at it. I put new shocks on. The shocks should be something you should think about when you're doing it. The stock shocks have a really threaded, aggressive thread to screw into the plastic. And so on these, it could be difficult. You might have to bore it out more. But what I did is I put on aftermarket shocks, and using the screws that are more like the typical screws that are found throughout the rest of the truck, they actually tap into this great. So I used a little bit of thread lock, tapped it in here, and they're in there pretty good. So there's room on the back. You could also put a 4mm nut on the back of it as well. It does come with these little shock spacers here. Just come on, focus. Right there between the shock and the shock mount to get your shocks off a little bit. And there's enough that you can put them on the top and bottom when you cut them out. So it comes as one big, basically, part tree, and you just cut it out. I just used these little snips right here that I had to get in there and clip them. You could use other things. It's pretty soft metal. And so very easy to cut. I put on these Hyrax tires because originally going to make this a class 1 truck, and so they were in the box. I'd already thrown them in there for the build, but I'm going a different direction now with it. This is more class 2 build for our comps, in that you have to have stock rails, but it definitely opens up some more possibilities with the shock tuning. And look at how much further forward it is. This is where they normally mount, is right here. And look at where they are, and up. Some people drilled holes into their chassis and would do it there. But this, yeah, I mean, such a cool way. And we've been doing it with the 10 scale, these kind of things, for a while. So it's nice to have these options for the 24 scale as well. And for those of you that don't like your battery sitting on top like this, you could get the small ones right on the side. You could put your receiver or ESC there if you don't want to run their big one. That was the one tricky thing, is that the on-off switch kind of is in the way. At least on mine, the way that they centered it on here was a little off. And so I kind of had to push this ESC over and get it in there. I also am running his Delrin skid plate, which Delrin is nice and smooth and slick. And so it helps just slide over. But there's also, it doesn't stick down. It's a flat skid plate. And so it has less grab there. So as you get on these, you should slide pretty well. I don't have any upgrades, as you can see. These are just plastic links. The other thing with this skid plate is you do have to put these links in before you install the skid plate, because those screws are actually hidden and tucked inside of here. So that's something to take note of. I'm gonna have to remove quite a bit when I go in and adjust. I'm running a Baby Goliath motor on there as well. Figured if I'm going to be taking this apart and redoing a lot of it, I'd go ahead and put a better motor in it. I also, while it was apart, put in metal gears. So did quite a bit to it. And yeah, but I wanted to keep it stock. I did have to trim it. And I probably will, now that I'm not going to make this a class 1 truck, I will probably actually decide to change out the tires and use some brass wheels. But I want to get some more steering out of it. I've got about, with this setup, so I put 45mm shocks on, and I laid them down quite a bit. But there's not very great turning radius in this truck at the the way that it's set up right now. So I've definitely still got quite a bit of work to do for it, but I have the capabilities now to do some of that because of where I can make adjustments. I've only got about 2 wheels of I can't really go any higher than that. If I lift that anymore, that back tire starts coming off the ground. So not a ton of articulation, but I don't actually need a ton of articulation. These are oil-filled shocks. Quickly looking here again, you can see the angles that I have them at. The reason is they have such long shock bodies that there's not a lot of upward travel. And so if it was straight up and down, this thing would not compress at all. So the only way to get and fake that compression is to have it so that it is so far forward that when it's fully collapsed, it'll sit. I think that the front is actually sitting a little bit higher because of the way it's set up. I mean, the body's faking it because of I think it's just a bit higher. So I'll have to do a little bit of fiddling with all that and just get it dialed in just right. But I've still got more to do with it. But overall, the products themselves worked really well, and pretty happy with it. So thanks to Rob for sending these over for me to test out, show off, and we're gonna have to get this thing comp ready. I still do like these bodies. I know we've gone to so many other ones that are better for comping and narrower and tucked and all this crazy stuff, but man, C10 is just a good looking truck. So get my winch back on here and strapped in there, and she's ready to go, looking good. All right guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.